It's January 20th, 2016, and this is our first snowfall of the year. So I'm giving you a little update from the deck of the Sputterbutt. The weatherman was calling for about 2.5 to 3 inches of snow, and you can see we have probably well exceeded that already, and it's supposed to keep snowing like this for about 3 or 4 more hours today. And then we're going to have another snowfall here in about 2 days. And if you remember last year, we had a really big snowfall, and then a couple days later we had another snowfall, and it kind of mounded up on the roof of the Sputterbutt until it collapsed it. And then we had to completely rebuild the boat, and we didn't even make it to the lake last year. So this year we decided not to let 3 or 4 snowfalls mound up on the roof. We're out here with our buddy heater and we're melting the snow off. There's probably only about 3 inches on the roof now. We'll go down and see if we can get a look at that. Well, everything is all white, the snow and the Sputterbutt, so it's kind of hard to see, but if you look real close, you can see that the snow is mounded up. Oh, there, if I zoom in, you can see a little bit, especially right there by the edge of the porch. If we come down here to our truck that needs pulled in the garage and finished, maybe we can get an idea of how much snow we actually have. Well, you can see there on the hood of the truck, the snow goes up to about the center of the palm of my hand. We've probably got at least 5 inches already. And we definitely don't want 5 inches of snow up on our roof again. It's very cold too, so this is not likely to melt. We're only in the low 20s today. Our little John boat is almost completely full of snow, but it should be fine. We traded the roof and the rails that we took off of the Sputterbutt after last year's collapse for this really cool little aluminum John boat. We did straighten them and repair them, but we weren't going to use them anymore, so we thought we should do something with them rather than just have them sit in the yard. Come here, Mac.
Our little sink is full of ice. This is a mystery to us. We don't know where the water even came from. We winterized the boat. I don't believe we have any leaks in the roof. That would be a crazy place to have it, right over the sink anyway. Snow has blown in every corner of every window. It even blew up through a hole in the kitchen cabinet. Our solar panel isn't really putting anything out to mount anything. That's because it's covered with snow and it is an overcast sky. We've been out here about 45 minutes and it's just now up to 50 degrees. It feels comfortable to me because I've been out in the snow, but I don't know, these little heaters they'll only do so much. We turned the heater on hoping to melt some of the snow off the roof, but because of the way this Coroplast is made, it has an air barrier in between the layers, so it's warm to the touch, but the heat's not transferring to the top layer, so it's just simply not going to melt the snow off.
I've been out here about an hour and 20, hour and 30 minutes. It took me about an hour to get the snow off the roof of the boat, and it's already starting to pile up on it again. But I've said a couple times in this that our forecast was for 2.5 inches of snow. That's what they've been saying all week. And I came out here when I first started shooting this and stuck my hand down on the hood of the truck here, and it went up to about the center of the palm of my hand, which is about 4.5 inches, and that was at about 11/4. And now it's up to about 5.25 inches. So it's still coming down. It's not supposed to quit until about 3:30, and it's a little after 1 now. And it is still snowing very, very hard. Now, our local weatherman, whose tagline is "Weather You Can Depend On," was predicting this 2.5 inches. And I'm making a big deal out of this because I want you to realize that if you're going to do things like boat and ride motorcycles and other things like that that kind of depend on you knowing what the weather is, you need to learn a little bit about the weather yourself. And we have apps on our phone that give us access to all the information that Todd Howell had to make his dependable forecast. And when I got up this morning, I knew this was going to be more than any 2.5 inches of snow. I could see the radar. It was snowing hard all the way back past Nashville. And I knew it was going to continue for hours, and we already had snow on the ground. And given the temperatures, we knew we were going to have to come out here today and do something to save the boat, or we were going to have a repeat of last year. So if you're doing things like what we're doing, keep in mind that you really need to keep an eye on the weather yourself and not just depend on a forecast, because they're not always right. I mean, I'm sure our weatherman took the advice of national weathermen and stuff. Bret's in the garage now, and he's got a fire going trying to melt some of the snow off the roof of the garage. If you'll remember last year, not only did our boat collapse, but boat slips all over the area collapsed, the boat docks that have covered slips. And literally hundreds of boats were totally destroyed here because snow piled up on the boat slips and they collapsed on top of the boats. So I'm sure boat owners locally that have those boats in those slips, they're probably panicking right now because this is a very wet snow, and we've already gotten about half as much snow as what we got last year that caused those collapses. And like I said, we do have another storm on the way.